The chamber of the Interstellar Council was vast and bright. Layers of light moved across the high ceiling like slow waves. Each light marked the seat of a different species. Tall beings of crystal stood beside small beings wrapped in metal shells. Creatures of mist floated in clear fields of energy. Every seat was filled, every eye was focused on one human. His name was Daniel Brooks. He stood alone on the central floor. He wore a dark uniform with no medals and no marks of rank. His boots were plain. His belt was empty. There was no weapon on his side. No shield pack on his back. His hands rested behind him in a calm pose. Many council members felt insulted. When a new species stood before the council, it was normal to show strength. Other races had brought heavy guards with plasma rifles, gravity blades, or armored suits. It was a display of power. It was a warning and a promise at the same time. The human guard brought nothing. Councillor Virex of the Thalran leaned forward. His hard outer shell made a sharp sound against his stone seat. "Is this your security representative?" he asked. Ambassador Elena Ward stood at the edge of the chamber floor. She wore a simple white suit. Her voice was steady. "Yes," she said. Virex tilted his head. "He carries no weapon." "That is correct," Elena replied. A low wave of sound moved through the chamber. Some species clicked in confusion. Others pulsed in bright colors that showed doubt. A few activated private scanners to search for hidden devices. Daniel Brooks did not move. Inside his mind, he was counting. He counted exits, 12 large doors, 4 hidden panels. He counted high points in the walls where snipers could stand. He counted the number of security drones resting in ceiling ports. He noted the slow turn of a defense turret near the western gallery. He also listened. He listened to the change in airflow when the main doors sealed. He listened to the rhythm of movement from the Thauron guards. Heavy steps, strong weight shift to the right leg. Minor damage in the left knee joint of one guard, he marked it. The council believed he was standing still. He was not still. He was observing. Without warning, 3 security drones dropped from the ceiling. They were round machines covered in emitter nodes. A field of blue energy snapped into place around Daniel. The air inside the field thickened as gas began to pour in. Several council members leaned forward with interest. Daniel took one slow breath. The gas was meant to weaken him. It was poorly mixed. Too much of the heavier compound. It would sink low before filling the upper space. He shifted one step to the side. A drone fired a narrow beam of light. The beam struck empty air. Daniel had not jumped or rolled. He had simply moved before the shot was released. His eyes had seen the small charge build in the emitter node. His body moved before the machine finished its aim. The second drone adjusted its path. Daniel stepped again. The beam cut across the chamber floor where he had stood a second earlier. Murmurs grew louder. Daniel felt the field hum. He studied the pulse. The energy moved in a pattern. The pattern had a weak point. He raised his hand and pressed 2 fingers against the barrier. At the exact moment the pulse dipped. The field flickered. Then it collapsed. The drones hovered in place. Their weapons cooled. Daniel returned his hands behind his back. He stood as he had before, unarmed. The chamber fell silent. For the first time, many members of the council understood that the human guard had not come without weapons. He had simply brought them inside his mind. The silence in the chamber did not last long. Councillor Varex rose from his seat. His large frame cast a long shadow across the glowing floor. "The test is not complete," he said. At once, the walls of the chamber shifted. Panels opened with a heavy sound. More machines moved into place. This time they were not small drones. These were tall combat units used in border wars. Each one carried layered armor and strong energy shields. Daniel Brooks watched them with steady eyes. Ambassador Elena Ward did not speak. The first combat unit stepped forward. Its metal feet struck the floor with force. A shield formed around it, bright and thick. "You avoided simple machines," Varex said. "Avoid this." The combat unit fired a wide pulse wave. Daniel moved. He did not run, he walked at an angle. The pulse wave brushed past him and struck the far wall. The wall cracked under the force. Gas began to rise again from vents near the floor. Daniel noticed the direction of the airflow. The chamber had a circular current system. The gas would move in a slow spiral. He stepped toward the center where the air was cleaner. The second combat unit charged. Its heavy arm swung down toward him. Daniel stepped close to the machine instead of away from it. The arm missed because it could not bend at a sharp angle. He placed his palm against a small panel near its shoulder joint. The machine froze for a second. It tried to correct its balance. Daniel stepped back. The machine turned too fast. Its own weight worked against it. It fell onto one knee and cracked the floor beneath it. The council members began to understand. Daniel was not stronger than the machines. He was using their design against them. A sharp tone echoed through the chamber. This time the ceiling opened. A large gravity press lowered toward the center floor. It created a heavy force that pushed down on everything below. Several council members leaned away in fear. The gravity increased. Daniel bent his knees slightly. His boots pressed harder into the floor. He breathed in and out in a slow rhythm. His body adjusted to the weight. He shifted one step to the side where the press was weakest near its outer ring. The gravity system was built for crowd control, not for precision. He moved through its edge. Varex made a low sound of anger. "Increase output," he ordered. The gravity doubled. Small cracks formed in the chamber floor. Daniel's face remained calm. He dropped flat to the ground. The pressure above him became unstable because the press was focused on upright mass. By lowering his shape, he reduced the effect. He rolled once and reached the base of the gravity device. There was a narrow gap where power lines connected to the floor grid. Daniel struck the grid with his heel at a precise point. The gravity press flickered, then it shut down. The chamber lights dimmed for a moment before returning. Smoke rose from the damaged combat unit. Daniel stood again. He brushed dust from his sleeve. "This chamber was built for order," he said in a calm voice. "Not for war." His voice was not loud, yet it carried across the hall. Counselor Myra Tall leaned forward from her seat. "Why do you resist without weapons?" she asked. Daniel looked around the chamber slowly. "Because weapons create fear," he said. "Fear creates mistakes." He pointed toward the fallen machine. "Mistakes create weakness." The words settled over the council like weight. The machines had been strong. The human had been patient. Varex lowered himself back into his seat. For the first time, doubt entered his thoughts. The council had tried force. Force had failed. Daniel Brooks stood in the center of the chamber once more with empty hands. Yet the most powerful military body in the sector was no longer certain it was in control. The chamber no longer felt like a place of power. It felt like a place of questions. Daniel Brooks stood at the center floor while damaged machines were pulled away by silent repair units. The broken gravity press hung above like a reminder of failure. Counselor Myra Tall rose slowly. "Human guard," she said. "You move as if you knew our systems before you arrived." Daniel looked at her with calm eyes. "I studied," he answered. "Studied what?" she asked. "Everything you allowed us to see," he replied. A large screen above the chamber came to life. Data files began to scroll across it. Public council records. Trade routes, security manuals, architectural plans that were open to member species. Myra Tal felt a cold sense of understanding. The humans had not broken into secret vaults. They had simply paid attention. "You built this chamber for defense against outside threats," Daniel said. "Not against someone standing inside it." Counselor Varex made a sharp sound. "Are you a threat?" Daniel did not answer at once. He turned slowly and looked up at the many seats filled with alien leaders. "No," he said. "I am proof." "Proof of what?" Varex demanded. "Proof that you measure strength in the wrong way," Daniel said. A low wave of protest spread through the chamber. One of the Elder Council members, a tall being of silver light named Oren Hale, spoke from the highest tier. "Explain your meaning," Oren said. Daniel nodded once. "When you welcomed new species," he said, "you tested their weapons, you compared firepower, you compared shield output, you compared fleet size." He began to walk slowly across the floor as he spoke. "But weapons are tools. Tools can be copied, tools can be stolen, tools can be improved." He stopped near the cracked section of the floor where the combat unit had fallen. "You did not test patience. You did not test discipline. You did not test restraint." Elena Ward watched quietly from the edge of the chamber. Daniel continued. "On Earth, humans learned that strength without control destroys both sides. Our history is full of wars. We know what happens when power is used without thought." The screen shifted again. Images of human cities rebuilding after disaster appeared. Rescue teams pulling survivors from ruins. Doctors working in harsh conditions. Engineers repairing bridges and power grids. "Our guards are trained first to protect life," Daniel said. "Not to take it." Counselor Myra Tall leaned forward. "Yet you disabled our systems," she said. "I disabled functions," Daniel replied. "Not lives." The difference settled heavily in the room. Varex crossed his arms. "And if we had sent living soldiers instead of machines," Daniel met his gaze, "then I would have chosen different actions," he said. The chamber became very still. "Would you have killed?" Varex asked. Daniel's voice remained steady. "Only if there was no other path." There was no pride in his tone. "Only fact." Oren Hale spoke again from above. "Why come unarmed if you are capable of violence?" Daniel answered without hesitation. "Because carrying a weapon changes how others see you. It also changes how you see yourself." He placed a hand over his chest. "When my hands are empty, my first choice is to think. When my hands hold a weapon, my first choice becomes faster and more final." Several council members shifted in their seats. The humans had arrived with fleets in orbit. That fact was known, yet they had sent one guard without visible arms. It was not weakness, it was a message. Myra Tal looked around the chamber. "What do humans want from this council?" she asked. Elena Ward finally stepped forward. "Cooperation," she said. "Trade, shared knowledge. Mutual defense. And if we refuse," Virex asked. Daniel answered this time. "Then we return home," he said. "We prepare?" The simple words carried deep meaning, not a threat, a reality. Orenhale dimmed slightly as he processed the exchange. "You walk without weapons," he said slowly, "because you trust your own ability more than any tool." "Yes," Daniel replied. The council chamber, built to judge power, now faced a new idea. True strength might not shine or hum. It might stand quietly with empty hands and wait. And that thought unsettled them more than any weapon could.
The council chamber remained tense after Daniel's words. Many leaders spoke at once through private channels. Energy lights flickered above their seats as they argued. Councillor Virex stood again. "This discussion is no longer enough," he said. "We must test intent." A section of the chamber floor opened. From below, a tall armored figure rose on a lift platform. It was not a machine. It was a living warrior from the Kareth Dominion. His name was Aaron Cole. He was human. Gasps moved through the chamber. Aaron wore full combat armor. A pulse rifle rested in his hands. A sidearm hung at his waist. His face was hidden behind a dark visor. Elena Ward did not react. Daniel looked at the armored man with steady eyes. Virex spoke loudly. "This human serves the Kareth Dominion under contract. He carries weapons. He follows our command during this trial." Aaron stepped off the platform. His boots struck the floor with heavy sound. "Stand down," Virex ordered him. "Aim at the unarmed guard." Aaron raised his rifle. The chamber lights reflected from the weapon barrel. Daniel did not move. The air felt tight. "Fire if he advances," Virex said. Daniel slowly walked forward. Aaron adjusted his stance. His training was clear in the way he held the rifle. His finger rested near the trigger but did not press it. Daniel stopped 3 steps away.
"Aaron," he said in a calm voice.
The armored figure did not answer.
"You do not want to do this," Daniel continued.
"I follow contract law," Aaron replied through his helmet speaker. His voice sounded flat and controlled.
"Contract law does not remove choice," Daniel said. Several council members leaned forward.
Daniel's eyes focused on the small tremor in Aaron's left hand.
"They are testing both of us," Daniel said. Aaron remained silent. "If you fire," Daniel continued, "you prove that humans can be turned against humans."
The charge grew brighter.
"If you refuse," Daniel said, "you prove that we decide our own limits."
The chamber was silent except for the hum of the rifle. Aaron's breathing grew heavier inside his helmet.
"I was paid to stand here," Aaron said. "Yes," Daniel replied.
"But you were not paid to forget who you are."
The words carried across the hall. The charge at the rifle's muzzle flickered. Virex made an angry sound. "Fire," he commanded. Aaron lowered the rifle. The charge faded. Shock moved through the chamber. "Explain this refusal," Virex demanded. Aaron removed his helmet. His face showed strain, but his eyes were clear.
"I signed a contract to protect Kareth trade routes," he said. "I did not sign a contract to shoot an unarmed human for political display."
He turned to Daniel.
"You knew I would not fire," Aaron said.
"I hoped," Daniel answered.
Virex struck the arm of his seat. "This proves nothing," he said.
Orenhale spoke from above. "It proves much," the elder said. "It proves that their strength is shared."
Aaron placed the rifle on the chamber floor.
"Humans train for war," he said, looking around at the council. "But we also train for judgment. If we carry weapons, it is because we believe we must. Not because someone demands a show."
Daniel stepped beside him. 2 humans now stood in the center of the chamber. One armed, one unarmed, both calm. Elena Ward finally spoke.
You wish to see why our guards walk without visible weapons, she said. It is because the true weapon is decision.
The chamber lights dimmed slightly as the council systems processed the events. The test had not been about force. It had been about control. Daniel looked at Aaron. Aaron gave a small nod. Without another word, he stepped back onto the lift platform. The floor closed above him. Daniel returned to his place at the center. His hands rested behind his back once more. The council now understood something deeper. A human with a weapon could be powerful. A human who chose not to use it could be far more dangerous. The Galactic Council chamber shimmered, a kaleidoscope of alien species, their gazes fixed on me. I stood alone, a human in simple guard fatigues, before beings who saw us as primitive, aggressive. They called this trial the humanity question. Their whispers, translated through my earpiece, were a chorus of doubt. Violent, one hissed. Unpredictable, another chirped. The High Arbiter, a creature of pure light, finally spoke, its voice a symphony of chimes. Human, your species speaks of peace, yet your history is written in war. Your worlds are armed. Explain this contradiction. I took a breath, the recycled air cool in my lungs. Esteemed members of the council, I am not a diplomat. I'm a soldier, and I'm here to show you what peace truly means to us. I unholstered my standard issue sidearm. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. Guards of a dozen different species tensed, ready to vaporize me. You see a weapon, I said, my voice steady, projecting calm. You see a threat. And you are right too. It is designed to end life. This is the truth of our past, a truth we do not hide. I held the weapon flat on my palm, but you only see half the picture. With my other hand, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. It was faded, creased, but the image was clear. My daughter, laughing, her face smeared with chocolate ice cream. I placed the photo on top of the weapon, covering the cold metal with a bright, joyful smile. This, I said, my voice softer now, is the other half. This is why we carry the weapon. Not to conquer your worlds, not to spread terror, but to protect this. To protect the laughter, the innocence, the future she represents. The strength to fight is meaningless without the will to protect what is precious. I looked up at the High Arbiter. We don't love war. We hate it. We hate it so much that we have become very, very good at it, so that we may one day never have to fight again. Our strength isn't for conquest. It's a shield to protect every child, every family, every quiet moment of joy on our worlds. That is our peace, a peace we are strong enough to defend. Silence filled the grand chamber. The whispers had ceased. I lowered my hand, the photo still resting on the weapon, a symbol of our paradox. A peace earned through strength, a future protected by the tools of a past we desperately wish to leave behind. The arbiter of light flickered, and for the first time, I felt not judgment, but understanding. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.